All right, today we are diving into something pretty huge. It's a single framework that tries to connect science, spirituality, and society, and it's all born from one person's incredible life journey. Let's get right into it.
So let me start with a question for you. What on earth could possibly connect a dairy farm in India, the COVID-19 pandemic that we all just lived through, and, get this, the future of global government? I know they sound like wildly different things, but believe it or not, there's a single idea that ties them all together.
And that idea, that connection, is called philselphology. The author came up with this term way back in 1986. It's pretty straightforward when you break it down. Phil, for philosophy, self, for, the human self, and ology, which means science or study. The whole point was to create a practical way to bridge these massive fields of knowledge that we usually keep in their own separate boxes.
So, where did this all begin? Well, like a lot of big ideas, this one started out in the very formal and, let's be honest, sometimes very resistant world of academia. This is where the theory first got put to the test.
This thing really took shape over about a decade. After the name was created in '86, the core ideas were first presented at the University of Adelaide in 1990. And by 1996, it was starting to get some real traction. It even attracted its first international student from Canada, which was a pretty big deal.
But man, getting people on board was an uphill battle. Just listen to this. The head of philosophy at the time told the author flat out, "You need to write at least 15 books to prove that philosophy is a bridge between science and religion. Even then, it would not be approved easily." I mean, can you imagine? That just shows you how much resistance there was to mixing these fields.
And the author's determination was just wow. He knew he needed to take this one specific course, physics, human and society, to build his case. Problem was, it wasn't for science students. So when his application got rejected, he didn't just give up. No, he literally went and fished his crumpled application form out of a trash can to keep fighting for it.
And this is the part of the story that sounds like it's straight out of a movie. The dean of academics hears what's going on, sees this student with his crumpled up form from the bin, and basically marches over to the department. And he asks them, "Should I come with a stick?" Just that one question. And bam, he was in. That course became the academic backbone for everything that followed.
Okay, so after all those battles in the university, the theory was about to face a much, much harsher test. Not in a classroom, but in the real world, on his family's own dairy farm. You have to picture this. For generations, the family had this healthy, successful dairy farm. But then the 1990s hit, and it was a complete disaster. The source calls it the decade of infection. This mysterious uterine disease just ripped through the herd. The cows would give birth, and then soon after, both the mother and the calf would die. It was a total tragedy.
Now, here's the crucial leap. He didn't just see this as a private family tragedy. He looked at what was happening, the infections hitting the cattle, but also local birds and fish, and he saw it as a microcosm, a small-scale, real-life example of the much, much bigger problem happening worldwide. The sixth mass extinction.
And that connection from the personal to the planetary is where this whole thing really turns into action. So let's look at how these ideas were then shaped into actual potential solutions for some of our biggest global crises. And this scope here is just incredible. For pandemics, it proposes something called triple-point therapy. For our energy and waste problems, a system using biogas and compost toilets. And for global governance, a whole new three-part system. It's one central idea branching out to tackle these huge, completely different challenges. So what in the world is triple-point therapy? Well, the idea is to take three different approaches to medicine: modern allopathy, traditional Indian Ayurveda, and homeopathy, and synthesize them. It suggests using specific translational phases to make them work together instead of against each other. And the whole thing is held together by this really cool concept called cymatics, which is basically the study of how sound and vibration create visible patterns. And the energy solution is super practical. It's a beautiful closed-loop system. You collect all your bio-waste from the kitchen, the garden, even from special compost toilets. You put it all into a simple biogas plant. Out comes renewable energy, like cooking gas, and you're left with this amazing, rich fertilizer for your garden. It literally turns waste into a resource. Okay, so from medicine to energy, now we get to the most ambitious part of this entire theory, applying those same core principles to how we structure human society itself on a global scale.
The big vision is a new kind of global citizenship. It has three main paths, or streams, that can all exist at the same time. There's the universal stream through groups like the UN. There's a stream for religious and philosophical paths. And then there's a decentralized, community-focused stream built on things like blockchain. And what holds it all together? You guessed it. Cymatics is right there at the center, acting as the unifying principle.
So we keep coming back to this word, cymatics. What is it, really? Think about when you see sand on a metal plate, and when a certain sound frequency is played, the sand magically forms these beautiful geometric patterns. That's cymatics. Now, philpsychology takes that idea and runs with it, suggesting that this isn't just about physics, it's a fundamental principle for everything. It's the underlying language of vibration and pattern that connects science, society, even spirituality.
So, when you trace the entire journey, from that fight in the university, to the tragedy on the farm, to these big ideas about pandemics and world government, you arrive right here. The ultimate goal of philosophy is to build one single unified framework, a kind of theory of everything but for society, one that could harmonize our global systems and give us a new way to tackle our most wicked problems. It is an unbelievably ambitious vision, no doubt about it, and it leaves us with a really big question to chew on. In a world that feels more and more fragmented, where all our knowledge is specialized and separated, could a single, holistic, unified theory actually be the key we've been looking for? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.